Well, I'm worried, but I'm not panicking because from what little we know, it doesn't look like you have any increased radiation from the plant. And because this is a very different design than the Chernobyl reactors, it has a number of safety differences, including a concrete containment building, secondary and tertiary cooling systems. And when a reactor like this shuts down, it does so in a safe way, as opposed to Chernobyl. When it shuts down, it can actually be it is a disaster waiting to happen. So I'm worried, but I'm not seeing the things that are going to send me into panic. But it's obviously something we're extremely concerned about. It's something that should never have happened. And if first responders can't get in, if the fire spreads, and if the plant cannot get power, then we are looking at something much more serious.
Well, we know that when the live stream went down, there was still power. We don't know why the live stream went down. It's possible that so many people were trying to access it that it couldn't withstand. But at any rate, the power was up and active at the time. And when that went down, maybe 48 minutes ago, the firefighters were still trying to get in there. And then the facility's spokesperson posted a video on the social media site Telegram in which he demanded that the Russians stop shelling the plant and said there was a, quote, real threat of nuclear danger. Speaking on local television, the same man said that the shells had set fire to one of the 6 reactors there. The unit is under renovation, according to the Associated Press, but has nuclear fuel inside and remains inaccessible to firefighters because at the time they were being shot at. We don't know, we have no way of knowing if the firing from the Russians has continued. But, John, we've been given no indication from the Ukrainians that it's continued, so the hope is that the Russians backed off. And, by the way, nothing official from the Russian side of this at all.
And you know, you've asked me on for my nuclear expertise, so I'll refrain from stating the obvious about how Russia needs to get out of the country and get away from the plant. And the last thing they should be doing is firing on a nuclear power plant, especially one that when the wind blows, it's going to blow back onto Russia. And so they're as much at risk as the people of Ukraine. There are a couple of things I'm really looking for at this plant. Not only is it important that there be power on, you know, looking at the live feed earlier, you could see lights on, but there's emergency cooling equipment that has to be operated. That's not just something you plug into the wall socket. It's important to note that this is actually an energy city. There's a large hydroelectric plant just up the Dnieper River. And so it is likely, unless the Russians have, as may be the case, trying to cut all power to the local environment, left that intact. And so the hope is that the plant itself is getting the power it needs. But if the water supply is damaged, if for any reason the spent fuel storage buildings, which contain spent nuclear fuel, is damaged and the water gets out, then you are looking at real environmental and local problems and disasters. So at a minimum, the Ukrainian first responders have to be let in. There needs to be access to those facilities, which are still under international safeguards through the International Atomic Energy Agency. And if there is outside support available from Europe, as I'm sure there will be, then those experts and support has to be allowed into the plant to make sure this is safe.
John, we've just gotten some new information, and this information is good. The Ukraine State Emergency Service has just reported that the fire at this nuclear power plant, they've now learned, broke out at a training building. And the regulator on scene tells the International Atomic Energy Agency there has been no change reported in radiation levels at this nuclear power plant site. So that's the best news we've had all night.